case you weren't aware, pod stands for music, at least in Apple's world. That's why we have iPod, Podcast, HomePod, AirPod, and soon we're going to be getting some more pods in our life, so I thought we'd talk about what audio products from Apple we should expect before the end of this year, and perhaps some audio products we shouldn't expect by the end of this year. The iPod Touch, it's not coming back. So, as I pod to all of your ears, let's begin. Alright, so first off, let's just cross out some things. There were some leaks earlier in the year about refreshed AirPods of some kind, Generation 3, or maybe some type of AirPods Pro without active noise cancellation. You guys have been watching me for a while, you know I've always said that doesn't make sense. Like, the entire design of AirPods Pro was to accommodate for ANC. For them to remove it wouldn't even save much money. Either way, I would not expect refresh AirPods, as in this type of the in-ear bud with the charge case and everything. Don't expect any new kind of that. There's not going to be new AirPods Pro by the end of this year, and I don't expect Generation 3 AirPods either. There might be some in 2021, but 2020 Apple's doing some different stuff, things they haven't done, I think, ever or in a long time, and that mostly involves AirPods Studio. So I get that it's a little confusing, because I just told you we're not getting new AirPods, but for whatever reason, Apple also wants to call these over-ears AirPods as well, probably just because the name reputation and the brand is very popular as is, so why not piggyback off of that success? And these are going to be over-ear headphones, which Bloomberg has said will have some customizable parts, okay? So it's a little bit modular here, with different cups and color options to choose from, potentially a space gray and a silver version, and these, of course, will have much better battery life than what you can get out of AirPods Pro, while still obviously rocking active noise cancellation, and the sound quality, I'm hoping, is going to be amazing, because this is a very saturated market Apple is entering. And I know we've talked about Apple over-ears for a long time. I would have called them ProPods, because I feel like something that's big and sits on your ears shouldn't really get the same air treatment as the regular AirPods, but whatever. They're going up against the Sony headphones that you can't remember the name of, and they're going up against the Bose headphones. And this market is full of very decent and fairly priced competitors, and Apple really hasn't been in this market before, but we're pretty sure they're entering it given they recently removed a lot of third-party headphones and dedicated speakers from their site. The Apple Store likes to sell lots of third-party stuff, obviously, unless it competes directly with their products, so seeing at the very end of September, they were asked to remove Sonos speakers, Bose headphones, even Logitech accessories that were all in that audio department, it's kind of evident that maybe as soon as next week, we could actually see some of these new audio products. And AirPods Studio, their main selling point will not be their price. If Bloomberg and a lot of other leakers are correct, they should start at around $350, which absolutely puts them at that ultra premium market, and given it's Apple, we know it's probably not going to have a headphone jack. Luckily, there are a few leaks floating around that it will be rocking USB-C, at least for charging. My hope is that it can also be used for, you know, low latency audio editing for Mac users if they want to do Logic Pro and use Apple dedicated headphones and that kind of thing. That would be lovely, because if they made these super high quality and great sounding headphones that you had to connect via AirPlay or Bluetooth, so you're gonna have that latency when you're an audio editor, this would be quite an expensive iPhone accessory. That would basically be good at, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a Siri activation feature, and Apple will just pitch it as a, this is great for listening to Apple Music, available for only $9.99 a month, but when you buy AirPods Studio, you get 6 months of Apple Music for free. You know the bit. They do this every year. But that's not what I want this to be. You know, great battery life, great active noise cancellation, and great sound quality is one thing, but if they restrict it exclusively to be kind of a wireless headphone iPhone accessory, then that limits its user base a lot, substantially even, compared to the types of headphones that a lot of Mac users out there would use to work with audio editing. So hopefully you can actually transfer data with that USB-C port on there, and I'm just telling you now, expect them to be expensive. And typically when Apple does audio and expensive, it ends up not being that popular. So that's why I'm expecting AirPods Studio to not sell great, but I could be wrong, because Apple oftentimes dominates the wearable market and the sectors that they become present in. So maybe there's some great features in AirPods Studio that I am just not appreciating, because we have heard rumors that they're going to be able to automatically detect if it's on your left ear or your right ear, and of course that should sell everybody on it, right? Throw away your Sony, throw away your Bose headphones. These ones you can put on either way, and it's able to automatically detect whether it's left or right. I imagine that simple process Apple implemented probably costs an extra $100 in parts and saves us an extra 2 seconds in putting on our headphones. But speaking of expensive audio products that didn't sell very well, Apple is rumored to not refresh the general HomePod this year, but Love to Dream recently tweeted that we should expect a HomePod Mini by the end of this year. So I would say probably a decent chance we could see that at next week's event. And Bloomberg has also been reporting on this HomePod Mini for years. I'm sure Apple's had it on the back burner ever since they unveiled the original HomePod, which was way back in 2017. I know, crazy to think we've had that around for this long. But it did take Apple quite a long time to release it, but hey, at least it exists, unlike the Bixby speaker, the Galaxy Home. Yeah, that's still not out. I know, we keep forgetting about it, but legitimately, like, they unveiled it and everything, and the Galaxy Home still doesn't exist. You can't buy it. I don't understand. Whatever. But HomePod Mini is rumored to be almost exactly the same design as the current HomePod, just half the size. And there were a few leaks a while back saying that this would be a 2-tweeter sound system instead of 7 like we have on the HomePod. So my hope is that this can drastically help on price, because generally I enjoyed my HomePods. I did just sell a couple of them, but I still have one left, and it sounds great. Audio quality wise, it's amazing. And I know some people like to dock on Siri, but I use the Google Assistant on my Google speakers every day, and they get stuff wrong, and they make mistakes and have a hard time hearing me half the time too. So I can't necessarily say that any smart speaker has been substantially better experience than my HomePod, but there's talk that Apple is going to be implementing a feature on HomePods that actually allow you to set a default music streaming service like Spotify or YouTube Music or whatever streaming service you have, but they haven't officially rolled out that update yet. iOS 14 is out, but I keep checking the Home app and they still don't let you change that yet, but it was referenced in beta code a few months ago, so hopefully they can roll that out alongside the HomePod Mini, and then Apple might have a chance at having a decent performing dedicated sound speaker, because HomePod sounds amazing, but it's way too expensive. And I also think connectivity wise, it's pretty limited. I mean, you know, you can AirPlay to your HomePods from your iPhone and iPad and stuff, but there's always a bit of a delay if you try to do that with your Mac. And I also think it's stupid for them to just lock out Bluetooth support. You know, they allow you to use your AirPods with other Android devices or non-Apple devices because they can just support regular Bluetooth, but for whatever reason, they did not want to do that with the HomePod, and they wanted this to be a closed Apple ecosystem product, but clearly it hasn't sold very well. Apple permanently lowered the price, which is not evident of a product doing very well in the first place, and hopefully this HomePod Mini, or whatever they end up calling it, can come around $150, preferably less. I know, I'm with you, it would be super nice if they could make a super compact, cheap HomePod that could compete with things like the Echo Dot or the Nest Mini and be like $50, but knowing Apple and how much they care about sound quality, they know they can't really make a product that tiny and that cheap and still retain their Apple required profit margins and stuff. So I'm not expecting it to be $50. Amazon and Google both lose money on those smaller speakers because they get their money from other sources, whereas Apple, they kind of need profits directly from that hardware. So in my opinion, it would be great if they could update the HomePods to support Bluetooth, third-party streaming services, and maybe start it at around $100. I mean, the Nest Audio that just came out is about $100, so if they went head-to-head with that on the HomePod Mini, probably throw in something like an A10 chip. Surprisingly, yeah, they're still making the A8 chip just for the regular HomePods and nothing else, but as Love to Dream said, they're not updating the regular HomePod this year, so whether that means they're going to keep the HomePod around or maybe just flat out discontinue it and replace it with this HomePod Mini, and it's smaller and provides still really good audio, so maybe Apple will just discontinue the current HomePod because they feel like it's not worth the added manufacturing and complexity in their supply chains because not that many people are buying it. But that pretty much covers mostly what we should expect with audio products for the rest of the year. Hopefully we get some more answers next week, but I'm curious what you guys want to see more of, so please feel free to let me know. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.